Hello, and a massive hello to everybody. How's everybody doing? So I hope everybody's having a great weekend. This is 50 Pips, rocking and rolling, 10th of July, 2016. No trade calls, no recommendations, or response for our stuff. We're here for educational purposes only. And the fact that you're listening to this means you've read to understand. You accept all the disclaimers of the blog, understanding that we're just performing some technical analysis in a learning context for educational purposes only. So what's happening, guys? So keep in mind, we got an interesting week coming up. I mean, fairly slow to start, but again, we could see some stuff in the overnight action, overnight on Sunday, the open. But the interesting things will be the China data on Wednesday. We've got that Bank of Canada crude oil inventories on Wednesday. Thursday, we've got Carney. We'll have to see what happened. Are we going to get more QE? Are we going to get a cut? Unemployment claims from Australia, unemployment claims for the US, and on Friday we've got a lot more China data, GDP, industrial production, and then we got all those CPIs and retail sales out of the States. So we'll have to see what's going on. So in terms of levels of interest, so gold, we're pressing higher. We talked about the fact that as far as we're concerned, we were witnessing a range shift, right? And what that means is moving from this 1200, 1250 to 1300 to moving to this new range, which is 1400, 1350, 1300. The day closes above the 1300 and then subsequently above the 1350 confirms that. So currently the range is here. We would expect any move now back into the 1300s as long as these 1300s hold from a closing basis. You see all these moving averages will start to come in. Very strong support for the market to continue to try and test higher. So going into the week, 1350 is the pivotal level, bullish above, bearish below. Above, we look for 1400, below, we look for 1300, and we expect this 1300, this breakout zone, to be very interesting and strong support. Okay, what's going on the ES? ES also attempting a range shift, closed above the 2100. Here we talked about the fact that you have to respect this. The weekly close is very aggressive. Here we're probing higher, right, and holding firm above the 2100. So right here it looks like we're trying to take out all these series of these highs. It looks like the 2130s are going to be calling here to the upside. The next levels to look at, we'd be looking at 2165, 2195. Now, I think what's interesting here is also keep in mind the chart is fairly different if you look at NASDAQ or the Dow. So you might keep an eye on those also to see how we react if those really start pressing higher, if those start to take out highs or not. But right here, what is going to be particularly interesting, especially in the start of the week, is how we behave here, right? And if we move down, what's going to happen at these 2100s, right? We expect the 2100s to hold the key, bullish above, bearish below. As long as we see daily closes above, we'd expect this to try and take out those 30s and to try and grind higher. If we get a daily close below the 2100, we would expect the 2050 to come fairly quick. Again, very, very tricky when we start pressing it higher, and we don't really have a roadmap when we press to new highs, so we're not huge fans of looking for upside targets there. But that's pretty much where we are in 2100. It's key. We would expect to see some kind of a continued press. If you just look at the way the chart is behaving, right, this is very bullish. So it looks like even if it has to fail and fail hard or not fail hard or whatever, it probably has to do so from a higher level. So expectation would have to be for trying to press higher. If we start to close below the 2100 or get traction below the 2100 early in the week, then something's not on with this rally. I'd be very, very cautious trying to get long there. Okay, CAD, we've got that rate decision. Keep in mind here, we're still hovering 129 is the big pivotal level. Sustained breaks below, looking for 125, hold above. This is in play right here. You see with all this series of higher lows, right? This is in play for a rotation back to the 34s, 134, 135, especially if the BOC comes out with some kind of easing or they talk about more cuts, et cetera, and we continue to see the dollar catch a bid, then we would expect those 135s to attract. If we have a big surprise or something happens on crude, then it's the 29 to watch, but here it looks like there's still some more upside attracting. What do we got next here? Aussie pressing in this big area. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this behaves. Looks like a lot of people still getting attracted to this, probably expectation that the RBA is not going to be too aggressive too soon. A lot of people getting attracted by the positive yield, right? But again, we would be very, very cautious. This is a very big resistance zone, and we still like, especially as long as these levels don't get taken out from a daily close perspective, we still like to look for tactical shorts here, even though we understand that it's squeezing and it's doing a good job of squeezing. Crude, our base case, top building inside the shaded area, kind of threw us off a little bit here, closed back above, so this is still in play. Series of lower highs, very, very technical, very, very nice. So our expectation is still that this marks short-term top. This is a fairly orderly move back down. We expect any rally to get sold, and we're still looking for this to try and make its way back into this previous support resistance zone into the 4240s. No change on crude. Euro, what's going on Euro? Euro's still stuck. These are all pivotal levels which are still valid. We've been discussing these for a long time. I mean, a lot of people are going to be looking at this in terms of we sold off, we're retracing back here. This is a sell for new lows, right? That's the classical way of looking at this. The only thing we'd caution is we don't like looking at these moves when you've got such a big part of the mood being a wick. So clearly, no surprise, 1050 pivotal level, daily close below bearish. At that point, we would expect it to try and take a stab and take out those lows, right? Daily closes above, we would not be surprised to see it try and take a stab at the 112, right? So 112 upside, mid 1050, downside, we're looking at, pretty much the 109, this level on the panic, the low that was printed, okay? Last but not least, yen. What's going on yen? Again, it's hovering here at this 100. I think if we take out the 100 with some gusto or with very aggressive move down, then the next level you'd really have to look at is something like 95s, 94s. I mean, the tricky thing here is if we start getting sustained move below, you got a lot of corporates and stuff are going to have to be active with more hedging, covering their backside or whatever. So you could see some funky action. The BOJ probably aware of that. They might step in. So anyway, bottom line is we think that even though there was a lot of room to the downside, we would not be too interested in trying to get aggressively short into this level. We'd prefer to look at this, especially in terms of asymmetric risk reward. If this level holds, and even if we start to hover here, we can't get any traction, we prefer to look for possible moves right back up into this 103. If we get traction, we could even go higher. But right now, it looks like it's trying to base, and we'll have to see how this behaves. But again, it's a very, very important support, and you have to treat it with caution, whether you're long or whether you're short, okay? Guys, I hope this was good. Thank you so much for flying with 50. Thank you so much for retweeting, liking, always very much appreciated. We'll try and do, most probably next weekend, we'll try and do a live session. So heads up on the blog, I'll post something there. So we'll try and be live for about an hour next Sunday. So I can take any Q&A. Again, as always, nothing is off the table. We can talk about anything. Just one time dedicated to you guys. Whoever wants to show up, I'll take any question, no problem. So again, wishing you an awesome weekend wherever you may be, whatever you may be doing, and I'll catch you guys soon. Take care. Have an awesome one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.